this has probably been the toughest week for almost all the teams. And we couldn't finish the season without 2 ties. That and more on Sports Hour. This is Sports Hour. Alright, so this last week was a very weird week. A lot of teams that were supposed to lose actually won. And we have pretty much decided almost all of the teams into the NBL playoffs. I don't have all the teams in order right now, but this is going to be a very, very interesting week. Right now, the Panthers have clinched the first seed. The Foxes have clinched the first seed. The Pirates have clinched the first seed. Hawks and Ravens are both for sure in the playoffs. Knights and Legends are both on the edge of being in the playoffs. They're currently seventh, and eighth right now. But there is still a possibility that they are not going to be at that position. As of right now, that would be their position. Those teams can be mixed up and changed. Same thing with the Hawks and Ravens. They might switch and swap, but they're going to be in the position. They're going to be in the wild card. As of right now, there is no other team that can make the wild card. So it's going to be it's impossible for any other team to make the playoffs. In fact, I just realized this. The Kings are actually eliminated from the playoffs right now due to the fact that they can't actually do it. The Angels and Browns both can make the playoffs as the wildcard team. So it's actually going to be determining on who makes it the last fourth seed. Everything else is already decided. So really, the only thing we're looking at is who will win the NBL East. Now, originally, the NBL East, the prediction was that the Angels would win the NBL East. That was the prediction at the beginning of the season. As of right now, it's really hard to say who wins the NBL East, because this is going to be very, very tough. Right now, the Bulldogs have the division by 1/2 a game. Division wins don't matter anymore because basically it all comes down to this. The Bulldogs win in their game this week, they clinch. And their game occurs, they actually have the very last game in the week. They play at 7 o'clock at night on Sunday. There are no games on Monday this week, so this is going to be very much a determining factor. Now, there's two possibilities here for the NBL East. If both the Angels and Browns lose or tie, the Bulldogs will clinch. If the Bulldogs win, they clinch, but they have the very last game of the very last game. So it's going to be a very difficult method going off of this. Looking at the Angels play the Saints. They actually have the earliest game on Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then the other game that we have, the other game is going to be the Browns. Hold on. The Bulldogs. Okay, I got a error here because the Bulldogs play here and here. Who are the Bulldogs supposed to play in the last week? They played the Ravens in the last week. So that means I think it's the Angels there, right? I think the Browns here. I'm supposed to play the Falcons. Yeah, see, I have that up wrong. That was my bad. Browns currently have a seven, 8 record. This is going to be that will be a tough matchup for this team. But there's the thing: it is going to be the deciding factor who wins the division because it will be either the Bulldogs, the Angels, or the Browns. Browns win, they actually have the last game. That was the thing. If the Bulldogs win their game, which is earlier than the Browns game and the Angels game, then it's going to be very interesting. Angels could still, the Browns could still, the Bulldogs could still. It really comes down to whoever has the best record and or points. So right now, the Browns would have to get something like 130 points or something like that and win. It's not going to be easy for them to do that. They're not in a position. They're not really in the position right now to actually do this. I couldn't tell you who's going to win for that one. Bulldogs currently have it, and the Bulldogs win, and none of these other stuff matters. And I know I don't have any of the other NBL things fully updated. I'm going to update those things before next week's video, which will be the last video before the playoffs. There'll be one video after that, which will be the playoffs occurring. Over to the ABL. Only the Bobcats are in a position to stay in. The Angels and Browns are still a possibility in the block. The Bobcats are the only team that's even in a position to possibly be finalized in the playoffs. These are the current teams. And the Bobcats are behind by points. Only by 40 some points. Because the Otters are currently in the position by a lot of points. They're actually behind them according to this. So why are they ahead? There are a couple things they're all mixed up because these things are actually a little difficult to do. Otters are currently on the block right now. I've actually had in other videos that said the Otters were in the playoffs. They are not for sure in the playoffs. Right now, the Lynx are for sure in, and the Warriors are for sure in. Warriors are going to be in either way because unless somehow the game goes to unless every game in the NBL goes to overtime and they get 200 some points, there's no chance they is. So right now, a lot of these games have been decided. Ours are the only team. The only thing We still don't know who's going to win the ABL East. It's either going to be the Techs, the UNC, or the Bobcats. And currently, UNC has the edge against the Bobcats. The Bobcats have the edge against it. And we'll have all that discussion right before the playoffs to show you exactly who actually makes the playoffs and who doesn't. But this is going to be a very interesting week. Warriors have clinched the playoffs. Lynx have clinched playoffs, and I'm sure I have figured that out. It's very insured. The Otters are not in the playoffs currently. The Stars, the Leland Cats, and I believe the Stars and the Techs are actually all in the playoffs at this point. The Techs haven't clinched the division, but they're going to be in the playoffs in any case because of their win percentage. Even if the Techs lose this week and all these teams win, the Techs will still be in the playoffs. They'll be in the wild card slot. But that's all going to come out to this next week. As for positions, I have updated the positions. When the tournament of 32 is going to come out, these are what the position would be in. And I'll have one more video which will have the finalized pieces of the information for that. Once the season ends, all those will be updated, and that will be the tournament of 32. Now, what the tournament of 32 for is a little different. I don't know if I mentioned this before or not. There is a World Playoff tournament. And the way it works, and I can go and see if I can get that up. I don't think it's up here. Here's the tournament thing here. I'm going to get this up here. It's over my head, but that's fine. I'll give it for a second, too. The way it works is whatever is in the position, I'll have all these things updated. That will be what they play. So first off, we'll have the play-in, which is teams that are in positions that are not in the playoffs for sure. Yes. So if they're in the bottom two, and actually I think honestly every single one of these positions is going to be in the playoffs at that point for that. They'll play for what's called the play-in position. The winner of that gets to go in for the play. And I'll update all of that later, who gets each seed. Because the rankings, it's a little different from the ranking position. Because it comes out of the position conference, which means I have to wait until the end of the week in order to figure that, in the end of next week, in order to figure this out. It's not as easy as this person is first, they'll be first. They might be first. The Panthers might not change, and they'll be first in position. But as of right now, this is what happens. And then the two teams that make it in, whoever wins that game will be making it to the World Playoffs. I can't reveal what the World Playoff teams are right now. They happen at the same time as we do. But whoever wins this game will be in the World Playoffs. Whoever doesn't win, let's say the NBL wins, then whoever was in the ABL, one of those teams will be in the World Playoffs as well. Two teams will get it in. But in order for that to work out, they got to make it through all the way to the end. Last thing to talk about before we get into this, I can go and pull that down now, please. The playoffs. I don't think I had the playoffs thing here. The way it works for the playoffs. And do I have the playoffs thing here? I don't think I do. The way it works, though, is it's going to be... I do think I have it somewhere. I just got to find it. Let's see here. I think it's this one right here. This is how the playoffs work. But I did not put this before. It's best of 5 in each one of these. So that is one thing to note. The games will occur day after day. So the first games, this first game will happen on that Sunday, or whatever the game is going to be. And then they'll happen 2 games. Then the next will be Saturday. Thursdays will happen. And then Sunday, the next game will happen. Then Monday, the next game will happen. The last game will happen if it occurs, if need be. You only play if all 3 of these. Then the best seed gets to here, and so on down the line. That's how it works, and that's how technically how the NBL, not the NBL, National Basketball League works as well, because they do best of 7. I can't do best of 7, and this is going to be the last. Once we get to the playoff things, that will be the last video for the season. Sports Hour will end after the playoff is over, and you will not see any more Sports Hour videos until December, which will have the next draft. That is what's going to happen right there, and that's what's happening. I just want to let you guys know what's going on for that. This video is probably a lot shorter than the other ones. If you guys still should have the wheels, you guys can see this. I just going to point out, you can see it. It's on every video. You can't make any changes to it, but you can make it. You can look at it if you want to. So I'll just let you guys know what's happening for that. The final standings. Now, last thing real quickly here before it gets, the draft does occur as well next year. And I can't decide how the draft is going to work until after all of it, because it's going to be 40 teams still. Currently, the Chargers would have the first round seat, first pick in the draft. And then so on, now the Falcons, not the Indians, but then the next team and so on down the line. I'll have that all put up in the December video. Just keep a lookout for that as well. That is really it, though, for the Sports Hour. There, it's going to be a interesting week. I forgot one more thing. I gotta do my predictions. Kinda need to do that. Yeah. The predictions for this week. Start off with the Legends and Cardinals. I'm not gonna go for too much of this. I think whatever I do is pretty much to say, and I will have the full updates for these things as well. You can see what the scores were, and there's also is that right? Yeah, it was the link. I just don't get to that. You can see all the scores that I will add those things after it. Last thing here, we got the Legends and the Cardinals during week 1. Pretty much, I don't think the Legends are going to have a chance to lose this game, so I'm going to go with Legends. Nice and Giants, pretty tough game. Could go either way. I'm just thinking about how the Tigers are not very good right now. And I do think that, but the Giants are dead last in there and everything. So I'm going to go with the Tigers winning this game. Lynx and the Bears. Lynx need to win that game in order to be able to get it. Honestly, I don't see the Bears winning this game anyways, so I'm going to go with Lynx winning this one. Yeah, it's LY, but whatever. Lightning Stars. Should be a Stars victory. Stars are pretty high up there. They have one of the best offenses. We'll see from that. Eighth is the Werewolves. Gotta have the Werewolves here. Chargers, which I don't have the actual update for those few of the teams. But there we go. Easily should be a Chargers loss. Again, they have the most penalties. And by the way, that's not even accurate. They have 200. It's 201 now. Warriors and Dogs should be a very interesting game. Going to be Warriors win, however. Knights and Panthers should be an absolute Panthers victory. Should be better, and I think Panthers are going to wipe the series and have another undefeated season. Looking at the Knights and the Kings and the Indians, I'm going to go with the Indians losing this game. Giants and Pirates. Pirates should be able to come back and win this game. Ravens and Bulldogs. Bulldogs need to win pretty badly. And looking at the Bulldogs, they have 8th and 16th. Pretty good stats versus the Ravens, even though the Ravens are really not much better. I'm going to go with the Bulldogs winning this game. We got the Bobcats and UNC. This is going to be a very important game because Bobcats need to win. UNC needs to win. Both these teams need to win. I'm going with the Bobcats winning this game. Tex and Colts should be an absolute blowout. Tex should win. I thought I just deleted it for some reason. Packers and Otters. It could be an interesting game. Otters need to win to get the playoffs. Packers can't make the playoffs anyways. I'm going to go with the Packers winning this game, though. I think the Packers have a slightly better chance of winning this game. Lions and Beagles. Should be the Beagles on top there. I'm sorry, these scores are not updated. You have to look at the things below to figure that out. I'll update them before next week. Superman and Westville. I would love to see Westville winning. They're not doing it, though. Leland Cats, even though they took a loss against the Panthers. Yes, and the Jets have gone evenly. I still think the Jets will have a very good job, but it's going to be the Cats that win this game. Fox and Hawks. Fox took another loss this week. Did they? I still think that the Foxes are going to have a good chance of winning this game. Angels and the Saints. Angels again need to win. They probably won't, though, against the Saints. The Angels and the Saints games, especially when they're playing really early, haven't gone out too bad. Angels do not win often against the Saints. In fact, if I'm right here, the Angels and Saints have played quite a bit. The Angels have won only 12 of the games they've played out of the 38 they've played. So it's not terrible, but I'm going to go with the Browns winning this game. This is the predictions for this week. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next week on Sports Hour. And for the second to last episode, and I hope you guys will have enjoyed so far the series. You can go like and comment, and who do you think is going to win the playoffs? Put that in the comments down below. I'll see you next video. Thank you guys.